Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Wonderful to see you all. So I want to welcome you all to this special evening, Healing the Womb of Humanity. And I especially want to welcome the men who are joining us. We need you, and it's wonderful that you are participating. And I hope that you are keeping in mind the women you love. And with your attendance, with your awareness, helping to bring healing to all those women and all women. So this evening I'm going to talk for a while, and then we're going to do a guided meditation. And because quite honestly, you can lie down and experience the whole thing, the talk and the guided meditation with your eyes closed, lying down. I'm going to actually switch off the live camera and put the photograph up. So you can really relax and just, you don't need to use visual aids by looking at me. I'm not going to be doing anything other than closing my own eyes and feeling our connection and guiding us through this process. So I hope you've got a place where you're sitting, or you can move your computer to a place where you can lie down and really relax. So if you haven't already done that, why don't you do that now? And I'm going to do the same thing. And if you prefer to sit, of course, that's fine. And when you come into your comfortable position, close your eyes. Feel inwardly. As I described to you, a healing story, my own, that I've just gone through. So in the fall of 2018, I began having really severe intestinal problems. And the suspicion was that I had leaky gut. That was the diagnosis. And it continued for a year until the fall of 2019. And I lost a great deal of weight. 18 pounds, went down to 100 pounds, and I felt extremely weak. And I began to feel that my life force was leaving me. I kept getting this intuition that that's what was happening. And during that time, I remembered a dream, a very powerful dream I'd had 2 years previously. It was a very short dream. I walked into my living room, and on the couch was spread out this absolutely beautiful, sleek, black panther. And she looked me right in the eye, and she said, "Pay attention to me, or I will kill you." And I woke up feeling chilled to my bones. I knew this was a serious dream. I knew it had something to do with my life force. And here I was, feeling my life force leaving. Well, it happened that in the fall of 2019, I went down to the Chi Center to teach, and I was down there for a month. So I was in a very strong Chi field. And during that time, it became clear to me that this was not about my intestines. It was about my womb. And that did make sense to me, because probably the greatest trauma that I've experienced in my life was in my womb. When I was 20 years old, I had an abortion that I really didn't want. I was tremendously conflicted. And so much so that I had a nervous breakdown, and I saw the walls crashing in on me. I knew they weren't actually crashing in on me, and yet that's what I saw. And I was put on all sorts of medication, antidepressants and sleeping pills. And I decided that I couldn't take the pain anymore. And I collected up these pills and took them all one day in an attempt to end my life. And I threw them up, thankfully. It was the most intense time of my life. So I began to do a morning practice in bed. I think I've mentioned before that my favorite time to do Qigong is in bed before I get up, visualizing. And I usually do at least an hour, usually 2, sometimes more, every morning. So I devoted that time to exploring what was going on in my womb. And I approached this work with great sensitivity. I knew that there'd been trauma, and not really just the abortion, but I think for all of us women living in this culture, which has basically dismissed women at best. And I knew that this area of my body had been denigrated collectively, and that it was very important to bring back respect and honor this area of my body. So I approached it with great caution, and I found myself asking permission if I could go in. And it seemed that the answer was yes. And so I took my awareness inside. And I was almost overwhelmed at first by how much fear I experienced when I consciously and intentionally went inside my womb. I would say it was actually terror. I felt I was falling into an abyss. But, and actually the feelings of overwhelm and helplessness were exactly what I remembered feeling when I was 20, 50 years ago. But there was a big difference. And the difference was that there was part of me that was witnessing all this. I wasn't lost in the experience as I had been 50 years ago. I was very aware of all the sensations, all the feelings. And I was this benevolent witness. I felt enormous compassion for myself and for all women. I remember being filled with a loving presence that I felt extended to all women. And I stood my ground, so to speak. I stayed there. I breathed. I breathed in the fear, all the feelings. allowing them to be just as they were, as intense as they were, and still feeling this wonderful sense of embracing the suffering, recognizing it to be universal, not just mine. And gradually, the intensity began to diminish. And instead of this awful black hole of nothingness that was so frightening at first, the void, the emptiness became friendly. Black, velvety darkness. I found myself relaxing more and more into it. I did this practice every morning. And after about a month, I noticed that when I went in each time, it was clearer and clearer of any of those old feelings. And then I began to go in very consciously, drawing in the light of infinity, very consciously bringing in the source energy. And my womb became brighter and brighter. This went on for about a month. And then I had a routine blood test. And my doctor looked at it and said, with alarm, we have to immediately do a CAT scan. And she told me that one of my estrogen markers was off the charts. And it was a marker for cancer of the reproductive organs. Well, you can imagine, I was very surprised. I said, I don't think anything's going on in that. And then I realized that this was in the process of healing. And that I've heard of when people are healing with Qigong, cancer. This is just one example. Very often, a big tumor will break up and become lots of little tumors. And the medical establishment looks at that with great alarm and says, oh my goodness, it's spreading. So I didn't know exactly what had happened. I knew something had been going on in there. I didn't know if it had physicalized. I didn't know if I'd completely cleared it. But as we ordered the CAT scan, every morning I continued. When I had the CAT scan done, the results came back inconclusive because nobody had bothered to ask me if I had a hip replacement. And if you do, it's very difficult to see the reproductive organs. So having had this quite invasive test where they inject radioactive dye into you, I worked on the dye, on the radioactive dye, seeing that as pure chi and neutralizing it, taking it back to its original state before it became radioactive dye. Anyway, then my doctor ordered an ultrasound, but she said, you know, I didn't order that in the first place because older women tend to have reproductive organs that shrivel up a bit. And so you can't see with the ultrasound. And I remember when she said that, I thought, this technician, whoever she is or he is, who does my ultrasound, will see as clearly as I do that my uterus, my ovaries are all clear. I went in for the ultrasound and I met the technician, Linda. She'd been doing this work for 51 years. She'd actually retired, but came in periodically because she just loved doing ultrasounds. She told me that she came in and did her own ultrasounds because nobody could find her ovaries. And she said, my dear, we will find yours. We will see your whole reproductive organs. Do not worry. I will find them. And she did. She was really funny. I mean, she'd say, oh, got your left ovary. Oh, I see your right ovary. Anyway, the result of all of this was that my reproductive organs are just fine and they are clear. And I afterwards took another blood test because I wanted to see if the estrogen marker was down now. And sure enough, it was. My doctor could not explain any of this. So that's my story, my healing story. And now I want to say a little piece about cancer. It seems to me that what we're doing when we heal cancer is, and in fact, actually, what we're doing when we heal anything, is we are reconnecting the communication between the cells. The cancer cells have forgotten that they're part of the body. They've disconnected, and they're replicating like crazy so they can survive on their own. When they're reconnected to the other cells, they will stop replicating, recognizing the fellow cells as their community. So how do we do the reconnection? With our minds. The mind is primary in healing ourselves. We want to be with them with pure consciousness in a qigong state. We need to stay with whatever's going on, whatever disharmony we're experiencing in our body. We want to stay present as awareness with no story, listening. So we begin with organizing the qi field, and this is what takes us into that qigong state. Takes us in to the experience of no longer being a separate self, no longer separate. And of course, this means that all our cells, including ones that have gone AWOL, off on their own, we're bringing all those cells back into the state of oneness, into community. It's happening on a micro level and a macro level. as we feel ourselves expanding into the infinite, eternal field of awareness, out of which all experience arises. The formlessness before form, the source. Taking your mind down beneath you into the earth and connecting with all of nature, with all this life beneath us. With all the different forms of life, all the expressions of source energy, such beautiful, varied expressions. So much life, so much life force. Feel yourself merging with this loving life force, Mother Earth always giving to us unconditionally, merging into loving life force. And then taking your attention to right above your head, and feel yourself opening to the chi field, to the unified field. This boundless awareness that's past time and space, infinite and eternal, merging. Experiencing yourself as no one, no body, nowhere, in no time. Present. And then imagining your energy body appearing in this emptiness. Feeling your energy body, the sensations. Recognizing this body is arising in consciousness, made of consciousness, and known by consciousness. There's just one consciousness. So recognizing we are all that. There's no separation between us. We are all cells in the body of humanity. recognizing that we are everybody, everywhere. So for the women, we're going to go with permission into our own individual womb, recognizing it as holographically the womb of humanity. And the men on this call supporting the women they love. And of course that means supporting all women to do this work. The men holding the space for us. And all of us women feeling very much gratitude to the men who've chosen to do this. Placing our hands over our bellies, and going inside into our abdomen and imagining our womb. And asking if it's the right time for us to go in. And then very, very sensitively taking your mind inside this space, into the interior. And asking this space, what do I need to know to support your healing? What do I need to know to support your healing? And then being in the darkness and relaxing into open listening. If feelings arise, be the compassionate witness. If there's just blankness, be with that. Sit with whatever's here, relaxing more and more into openness. Surrendering any expectation being with what is. And now we practice together a Hawaiian tradition, shamanic tradition called Ho'oponopono. A very beautiful practice that seems appropriate right now. So together, we whisper into our uterus, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And again, if feelings arise, be a vast openness for them to come up and be. No pushing away, no attaching, just letting them be. Feeling the support of all those on this call. All 69 of us. Feeling our strong intention to heal the womb of humanity. That strong mutual intention creating a very strong field. They're supported by all the masters of consciousness and energy down through the ages. All of us supporting this healing and feeling the support all around us coming from our ancestors. Not their personalities, their essence. All our ancestors encouraging us to dissolve these harmful family patterns that have been passed down for generations. This strong field transforming the energy any disharmony being released into this loving energy that surrounds us, that's inside us. Feeling the healing going deeper and deeper into the cells in the womb. Any cells that disconnected in shock, fear, reawakening, coming back to life and reconnecting with the other cells in the womb. Reconnecting to all the cells in the body. This great community inside, coming back into harmony, being rebirthed into a new being, whole. And now we're going to do a practice which pulls out the old information that created the pattern of disharmony in our bellies, centering in our womb. So in order to establish a new program with new information, it's necessary to draw that old pattern out of the subconscious. The body becomes the subconscious mind. So the practice involves visualization and squeezing of our muscles, and finally breath. We'll start with the visualization. So take your attention to below your feet. And then bring your attention into your feet and up through your legs, up through the lower abdomen, middle abdomen, the upper abdomen, up into the chest, through the shoulders, through the neck, up into the brain. Senji, the center of the brain, awakens, and then taking the energy right above your head, connecting to source. Taking the mind down again to beneath the feet, and we'll add the squeezing of the muscles. So the energy coming up from the earth, from the core of the earth, into your feet. Curl your toes under your feet. Bring the energy up through your legs and tighten all the muscles in your legs. Bring it up through the base of the body and squeeze the muscles around your anus and your genitals. Pulling the energy up through the abdomen, squeezing those core intrinsic muscles right in your core. Squeeze, squeeze all the way up through your chest. Bring your shoulder blades behind you together, and then tuck your chin so you're opening up the neck, drawing the energy up through your brain. You can use your hands to draw the energy up through the body, and when you get up to the brain, make your hands into fists, and then take the energy, your attention right above your head, and then let go. Let go of all the squeezing, let go, open up the fists, allow the arms, hands to slowly move down, imagining a waterfall of chi from source, pouring down inside and all around you. So we do it again, and this time we'll do the visualization, the squeezing, and then when we get to the top and we're holding everything really tightly, we take a deep breath and we hold even more tightly as we hold on to our breath. Our hands are right above our head in fists. Our whole body is tight, 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 holding our breath. And then we let go. We let go of the breath. We let go of the squeezing. The hands, the arms gently float down, guiding the waterfall of chi down through the body and all around you. Totally relaxing into openness. Taking your mind down into the earth, connecting with all life, connecting with the life force of the planet and all life. Feeling this great gift Mother Earth is giving to us. And drawing this loving energy into the feet. Curl your toes under. Draw it up through your legs. Tighten, tighten, tighten. Squeeze that energy coming up. Draw in the perineum. All those muscles squeezing and pushing the energy up through the abdomen. Squeeze those intrinsic muscles. Shoulder blades coming together behind you. Tuck your chin, opening up the neck and drawing the energy with your hands up, making fists as you bring the energy up into your brain, awakening the pineal gland, awakening Senji, and then taking the energy right above your head and taking a deep breath in and squeezing tighter still and holding. And then releasing, letting go, opening, opening, and allowing this waterfall of light, the light of the source, flowing down through your head, neck, down through the upper torso, the lower torso, all illuminated, down through your legs, lighting up your legs and feet. Feeling inside the continual opening out from the core of your being, opening up places that have never been opened before. Feeling ourselves as one being, the universal human being, opening up from deep inside and releasing the old unconsciously held patterns from past trauma, our own, our ancestors, the collective, all of it dissolving into this white light, the infinite light of being. The infinite light of universal love, all otherness, all separation dissolved. Putting your hands over your navel. And very slowly, very small circles. Move your palms without moving them off your navel, slightly to the left. And then up to the right and down. And continue to circle. The movement barely perceptible, connecting deep into the core of your being. Spiraling that light. Imagining that light. If you're a woman, in your womb. If you're a man, imagining it in the womb of the women you love. Imagine this space gradually filling with the light. No longer responding to life on automatic pilot. following unconsciously laid down patterns. No longer. Unwinding. Unwinding the past. The light spiraling in to the vacancy. The light occupying this sacred space. The universal love, divine love, unconditional love, filling up our collective womb. Making the circles smaller, slower, coming to stillness, and then reversing. In this spaciousness, in this lit up spaciousness, imagine an image of yourself radiantly happy, vitally healthy, totally fulfilled, feeling your connection with everyone on this call. Your loving connection with everyone on this call, with all your beloveds, with your communities, feeling our connection with all of humanity, with all sentient beings, with all life on this planet. Our connection to the stars, to the whole cosmos, to Source. Seeing yourself, visualizing yourself happy, healthy, fulfilled, and connected in this great web of life inside you and out. All the cells inside you celebrating this awakening, this coming together, this beautiful community, collaborating, cooperating together. and feeling ourselves, imagining ourselves as cells in the body of humanity. All of us awakening into cooperating together, collaborating together, creating true community throughout the planet, transforming the way we live our lives together and the way we treat the earth. Seeing this vision clearly, 2020 vision, for this year, for this decade, the great transition, the return to love. Making the circles smaller and slower, coming into stillness and dropping down into the silence, into the imperturbable peace that's always here, now fully unveiled. Breathing in that peace, soaking in that peace, recognizing we are this peace. And we conclude with gratitude. Grateful for this opportunity to be together, to heal together individually and collectively. Grateful for this practice, this amazing methodology, and all the wisdom traditions. We appreciate them all these ways of coming home to ourselves, helping each other to come home. We're grateful to all the teachers down through the ages of these consciousness and energetic practices. We're grateful for all the teachers in our lives. We're grateful to each other for the wonderful support tonight and every time we practice. We're grateful to the Qigong community. And we're grateful to ourselves for showing up so fully, for our dedication, our commitment to transform ourselves, to release the past and create something miraculous. A wonderful life for ourselves and for all life. We dedicate this evening for the highest good of humanity and all life on this planet. Haula, haula, haula. Thank you so much, my dears. If you have any feedback and you'd like to share it with me, I'd love to hear from you, how that was for you. I'm so honored that so many of you joined us tonight. Such a powerful field. I'm very grateful to all of you. Thank you so much. And I'll be teaching again online on Wednesday and Friday of this week. The schedule's on my website and in the last email, the last newsletter. So have a beautiful night. Watch your dreams tonight. And I'll be with you again soon. Very much love to you all.